Right Honourable James Sidney Kero, Governor General of New Zealand, and Dr. Richard Davis.
Ko te amorangi ki mua ko te hāpā i o ki mui. Kia tawi hono mana ki tanga ki runga ki tēnā o tātai. E hono re he korooria he maungarongo ki runga ki te mato o te whenua. E whakaro pai ki ngā tangata katoa. Arohaina ngā teina me ngā tuakana e noho nei i rungi te whakaro o tahi pai marire.
Please be seated. E ngā mana, e ngā reo, e ngā iwi o ngā hau e whā. Nau mai, hara mai, ki te whare nei, te whare o te kāwana tianara. Nau mai, hara mai, ki tēnei aku mihi mahana ki o koutou katoa. Distinguished guests, it is my pleasure to welcome you all to Government House for today's investiture ceremony. I'd like to specifically acknowledge Air Vice Marshal Andrew Clark, Chief of Air Force, Brigadier Rose King, Deputy Chief of Army, Warrant Officer Class 1 Nicholas Grace, somewhere else, and Warrant Officer Moby. Lovely to have you back again. Mr. Joe Harawira, our kaumātua, and Ms. Puhi Wahine Tibble, our kuia. Hosting investiture ceremonies is one of the most important duties that I perform on behalf of His Majesty the King of New Zealand. I'm delighted to bring together such an extraordinary group of New Zealanders. You have each brought pride and a greater sense of well-being to Aotearoa New Zealand through your outstanding achievements and your service to our communities. On behalf of all New Zealanders, I extend my sincerest thanks to you for your contributions. After each recipient is honoured, I invite you to join with me in congratulating them. Ms. Catriona McLeod will now summon the recipients and read their citations.
Your Excellency, to receive the insignia of a Companion of the New Zealand Order of Merit, the Honourable Leanne Dalzell of Christchurch, for services to local government and as a Member of Parliament. The Honourable Leanne Dalzell was involved in the union movement in the 1980s, advocating particularly for low-paid women workers. She was elected as a Member of Parliament in 1990, representing the Christchurch Central and Christchurch East electorates. She held several ministerial portfolios. She was elected the Mayor of Christchurch in 2013, serving 3 terms before stepping down. She played a key leadership role in Christchurch's recovery following the 2010-2011 earthquakes. She led the Council's response to the 15th of March 2019 terror attacks. Along with her late husband, Rob Davidson, she supported the Aranui Community Trust for more than 20 years. She served on the United Nations Office for Disaster Risk Reduction's Parliamentarian Advisory Group. Ms. Dalzell recently joined the Global Board of Directors for the Resilient Cities Network. The Honourable Leanne Dalzell, please come forward. Your Excellency, to receive the insignia of an Officer of the New Zealand Order of Merit, Dr. Peter Flanagan of Wellington, for services to blood transfusion. Dr. Peter Flanagan was National Medical Director of the New Zealand Blood Service from 1998 until 2019. He played a pivotal part in improving the New Zealand Blood Service to the point where it's now recognised as one of the best models in the world. He's an honorary associate professor in the Department of Molecular Medicine and Pathology at the University of Auckland. He is a member of the World Health Organization Expert Advisory Panel on Transfusion Medicine and a member of expert committees in the Council of Europe. Dr. Flanagan is an honorary member of the International Society of Blood Transfusion, having served as president and chair of the Standing Committee on Ethics, where he led a comprehensive review of the Society's Code of Ethics. Dr. Peter Flanagan, please come forward. Dr. Michael Claassen of Auckland for services to plastic and reconstructive surgery. Dr. Michael Claassen has had a long career in plastic surgery and has authored, co-authored, and edited numerous research papers and books. He developed the surgical marking tape Bodyline Marker for more accurate drawing on the human body by surgeons and has worked with Fisher & Paykel Healthcare on a surgical wound care device. He founded the Advanced Course in Breast Reduction Surgery. He was examiner of plastic and reconstructive surgery for the Royal Australasian College of Surgeons. He was Director Surgical Skills at University of Auckland's Advanced Clinical Skills Centre. He has co-convened the Pacific Island Surgeons Flap Course at the University of Tasmania. Dr. Claassen has volunteered with Interplast in the Pacific Islands and was surgeon for the Pacific Plastic Surgical Course in Suva, Fiji. Dr. Michael Claassen, please come forward. Mr. Wayne Norrie of Napier for services to business and governance. Wayne Norrie was involved in the management buyout of Hitachi Data Systems and was the subsequent co-founder and chief executive officer of Rivera, an early promoter of the benefits of cloud technology infrastructure for New Zealand businesses. He is chair of the New Zealand Trade and Enterprise, NZTE, Beachhead Service, an international network consisting of more than 100 private sector advisors providing specialist expertise to NZTE customers. He developed Fresh Thinking, a strategy workshop delivered to challenge and promote the governance and leadership of export businesses. He delivered more than 140 strategy sessions with individual exporters. He was chair of the New Zealand High Tech Trust, revitalising the Trust's awards designed to showcase the achievements of New Zealand's technology industry. Mr. Norrie is Deputy Chair of the NZTE Board. Mr. Wayne Norrie, please come forward. Your Excellency, to receive the insignia of a member of the New Zealand Order of Merit, Dr. Ofa Dews of Auckland for services to health and the Pacific community. Dr. Ofa Dews was an associate investigator with the University of Auckland's Maurice Wilkins Centre for Molecular Biodiscovery and research fellow at the School of Population Health, School of Nursing, Department of Molecular Medicine and Pathology, and Centre of Methods and Policy Application in the Social Sciences. She's led consultations and studies on weight management for Pacific people in New Zealand. She managed the MOH-sponsored Pacific Research Leadership Development Programme. She chaired the Health Research Council's Pacific Health Committee. She sits on the Edgar Centre for Diabetes and Obesity Research Advisory Board. Dr. Dews is active with the Pacific Medical Association, Whānau Ora Regional Leadership Group and Women's Refuge. Dr. Ofa Dews, please come forward. Mrs. Sherilyn Hall of Tauranga for services to Highland dancing. Sherilyn Hall has helped research and develop Highland dancing through the New Zealand Academy of Highland and National Dancing. She was appointed as trainee director at the Academy before becoming the technical director and has led a team of 9 technical dance masters, overseeing the dance technique, management and development of examinations. She leads training courses and workshops, tutors dancers at the annual summer dance camp schools throughout New Zealand, It has taken dance teams overseas to perform at the International Military Tattoos in Norfolk, Virginia, and at international conferences in Las Vegas. Mrs. Hall served as dance director of the Piping and Dancing Association of New Zealand. Mrs. Sherilyn Hall, please come forward. Mr. Frank Solomon and Mrs. Judy Solomon of Auckland for services to education, particularly Māori and Pacific education. Frank Solomon, Ngāti Porou, Ngāti Kahu ki Whangaroa, trained as a teacher and was principal of Waiheke Area School and Rotorua Lakes High School. His wife, Judy Solomon, was head of learning at Rotorua Lakes High School and Dean of English at St. Stephen's Māori Boys' School. They co-founded Solomon Group, a private training establishment that provides learning opportunities to disadvantaged Māori and Pacific learners in a holistic cultural environment based on Māori kaupapa values. They were host providers for Whānau Aramua, an education program increasing parents' literacy and employability skills. The group worked with Māori and Pacifica trades training to provide employment pathways. Mr. and Mrs. Solomon worked with ANZ to deliver the Money-Minded program, teaching financial literacy and budgeting skills to students. Mr. Frank Solomon and Mrs. Judy Solomon, please come forward. Mr. Ken Wilson of Wellington for services to education, research and the economy. Ken Wilson began teaching at Central Hawke's Bay College and became head of English at Rongotai College. He was advisory officer and advocate for the New Zealand Post-Primary Teachers Association. He was a senior researcher and business manager of the Centre for Research on Work, Education and Business. He managed the successful merger of Wainui-o-Mata and Parkway Colleges and has been the limited statutory manager and/or commissioner of some 16 primary and secondary schools. Mr. Wilson serves on the New Appointments National Panel to support the implementation and operation of Kahui Ako. Mr. Wilson chaired the 4 Eyes Foundation. Mr. Ken Wilson, please come forward. Your Excellency, to receive the Queen's Service Medal, Mrs. Marcia Te Ao Thompson of Invercargill for services to seniors, Māori and health. Marcia Te Ao Thompson, kai tahu, kati mamoe, kai taha, supports seniors kaumātua in the Invercargill area through the Ngākete Mātauranga Ponamu Charitable Trust. She's involved with the kaumātua group at Te Taumairangi Marae in Murihiku. She was Ngāi Tahu's representative on the Southern District Health Board and iwi Cultural Advisor for Southland Hospital. She was instrumental in creating Te Whare Whānau Family Room and accommodation at Southland Hospital for patients whānau. She has incorporated tikanga and hauora to healthcare practices. Mrs. Te Ao Thompson has been a voluntary celebrant for weddings, tangihanga and funerals, and a Justice of the Peace. Mrs. Marcia Te Ao Thompson, please come forward. Your Excellency, to receive the insignia of the New Zealand Service Decoration, Squadron Leader George McInnes for services to the New Zealand Defence Force. Squadron Leader George McInnes was the aircraft captain of a Royal New Zealand Air Force NH-90 helicopter that was dispatched on the 30th of May 2021, to assist the New Zealand Police search and rescue during a state of emergency due to widespread flooding of the Canterbury Plains. Squadron Leader McInnes responded to a request to rescue multiple people that were trapped and endangered by rapidly rising floodwaters. The conditions were extremely difficult for helicopter operations, with heavy rain, strong and gusty winds, and low cloud. The local civilian rescue helicopter had decided not to attempt the rescues due to conditions exceeding their operating limits, and a swift water rescue crew had been unsuccessful in trying to reach a motorist who had leapt into the flowing waters only to be trapped by a tree. Squadron Leader McInnes manoeuvred his helicopter to attempt a rescue. Battling against the extreme conditions, he lowered his winch crew person among the debris and branches to successfully rescue the trapped motorist, and carried him and the winch crew person underslung to the water's edge to meet waiting emergency services. Squadron Leader McInnes then returned to rescue another 2 motorists trapped in their vehicle in similar challenging conditions. He demonstrated expert flying skills by successfully extracting the motorists before they were swept away. Squadron Leader George McInnes, please come forward. Lieutenant Colonel Vanessa Ropatini for services to the New Zealand Defence Force. Lieutenant Colonel Vanessa Ropatini joined the New Zealand Army in 1991 and became lieutenant with the Royal New Zealand Army Logistic Regiment in 2005, where she has served in command roles and on operations. Lieutenant Colonel Ropatini was appointed as the Staff Officer Logistic Plans with Headquarters Joint Forces New Zealand, supporting the New Zealand government's contribution to the international response to the Russian invasion of Ukraine. She deployed to Germany as the Logistic Task Group Commander with the International Donor Coordination Centre, IDCC, to support the Ukraine Capability Development and Integration Programme. During the early stages of the IDCC, she assisted in assessing and prioritising the government of Ukraine's equipment and capability demand against the offers of donated capability and support by many nations. She addressed shortcomings within the defence lines of development, ensuring donations could be transferred to the Ukraine Armed Forces as a complete capability, such as matching donations of equipment with training expertise in that equipment offered by different countries. Her diplomatic skills in capturing and channeling the international response was key in advancing the IDCC from a bilateral organisation to a cohesive international team from 26 nations. Lieutenant Colonel Ropatini was a key member of the small command team who designed the future structures of the headquarters. Lieutenant Colonel Vanessa Ropatini, please come forward. Your Excellency, the investiture has concluded.
Just move it this way. Thank you. New Zealand's honours system is our highest public affirmation of outstanding individual achievement. It reinforces those things that make our society better: service, manaakitanga, and the pursuit of excellence. To our recipients, it has been a privilege to hear your stories. You have each used your talents and abilities to improve the lives of fellow New Zealanders or people around the world. In doing so, you embody the spirit of the whakatauki, whaia te iti kahurangi, ki te tū ohu koe me he maunga teitei. Seek the treasure that you value most dearly. If you bow your head, let it be to a lofty mountain. I urge recipients to wear your insignia with pride at every opportunity, knowing that you inspire others by doing so. On behalf of the King of New Zealand, and indeed all New Zealanders, I congratulate you on your achievements, and I thank you once again for your service and your contribution to our country. Kia ora e huhu mai I tēnei rā. Now you will see on the back of your program the words to the national anthem in te reo and in English. I now invite you to join with me in singing the national anthem.